Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. In 2017, Christophe Claret launched the Maestro, the watch seen right here, made of grade 5 titanium and sapphire, and I was at SIHH that year to see the original prototypes of the watch. It is a fantastic timepiece of unique design with incredible depth from a manufacturer that was established back in 1986, but Claret, often considered to be the supplier to the elite of watchmaking, did not begin making watches under his eponymous Christophe Claret brand name until 2009. So the Maestro is the fruit of those labors. Finally working for himself, he created something entirely unique. The watch, an 88-piece limited edition in grade 5 titanium, is 42 millimeters in diameter by 16.2 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 50 millimeters, with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Being that it is all sapphire and titanium, which are very light materials, it wears super light on the wrist. Now my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, but due to the curvature of the lugs, and you can really see that downward curvature here, I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. And although it is not thin, it is dramatically sloped, so it will fit underneath a surprising number of dress cuffs and just about all jackets. The watch is surprisingly practical. Here you can see we have it on a leather strap with a conventional stitching that's been laced with a metallized film to give it that metallic sheen. On the bottom calfskin, you can see no crimping, no gouging, a brand new strap. Curved spring bars, so there's no impediment to the motion of the strap against the case. And then we have the Claret branded double deploying clasp. You press the two triggers and it opens up. Blackened steel internally. Make no mistake, the watch is titanium, but the clasp is a combination of tie and steel. You have the Claret branding externally and a combination of satin, media blast, and polish. You can see the pin snaps internally to give it a snappy closure, and it will only open if you press both triggers, so it's secure on the wrist. Now the watch is bubble-like with the glass box sapphire concept that's so popular now, but Claret was doing this now 8 years ago and ahead of his time in that regard. Also, the extraordinary depth of this movement means that the vaulted arc and loft of that sapphire is put to good use. Taking a quick look at how everything works here, let's do a loom shot first so you can get a sense of just how legible the watch is in the dark. It's very basic in that regard, but there is some loom. You can see that the watch has a unique feature. Take a close look right down there at 4 o'clock, or I guess we could say maybe 3:45. You see that little blue sapphire cabochon? That is the memo feature. See how it says memo? And the idea is that by reversing the order of that set diamond and the blue sapphire, you will leave a little visual cue for yourself to remember that there's something you needed to do. Sometimes the little memory device, the little memory cue, is enough to recall the entirety of whatever you needed to accomplish. And so this little reminder feature is present. There's also a fantastic, this is an unusual manifestation of the big date, or the grande date, but it is a conical, double-digit, quick-settable date mechanism that is operated by a little trigger adjacent, and it's actually a lot of fun to play with this. It, too, has a blued cut sapphire cabochon on its top. And then adjacent to that, we have a balance wheel, which is sophisticated and free-sprung, with the adjustments primarily accomplished using masses on the edge of the balance. You can also see that they're recessed from the free airstream to minimize the effect of aerodynamic drag on timing. It beats away at 3 Hertz. It's effectively free-sprung because the adjustments are done with the screws on the balance, and then only very small timing adjustments are accomplished using the screw-fixed micrometric adjustment index. So shocks and concussions cannot change the timing of this balance, so it is effectively free-sprung with only small adjustments using the screw-based system. Taking another look, you can see there's an overcoil hairspring, so in pretty much any physical position or orientation, this watch is going to keep very consistent time. Early prototype images of the watch showed a cylindrical hairspring, but the conventional overcoil was found to be more reliable, so that's what the production models include. Again, a 3 Hertz beat rate, an enormous open cut barrel, and you can see just how deep that barrel is. It's almost like a clock barrel, endowing this watch with 168 hours or 7 days of manual wind power reserve. Taking a quick look at the mechanism, you can see that when the watch is set, there's quite a lot of visible motion works underneath, and that we have individual finger bridges that Claret describes as Charles X bridges. They feature a media-blasted surfacing and then a bevel on each side, which includes interior bevels. We have fired blued screws, which are always pleasant and always welcome. We have a satination on the wheels. If you look at the conical profiles of the memo and the date, you can see those are sort of a media-blasted matte. It is a large movement that spans almost the entirety of the case. A manufacturer caliber, I believe it's called the DMC16. 33 jewels adjusted in 5 positions. You can see made by manufacturer Christophe Claret. The caliber with a memo feature, a conical date, 7 days of power reserve, and it's all blacked out on the reverse side. But you can see one of the distinctions between the back and the front is that on the back, all of the screw heads are mirror polished, and on the front, all of the screw heads are fired blue. You can also see that there's a track outboard for easily reading the individual minutes, and that the hands are a compound construction with a black top and then a blue base. Roll into the back again, all this 30 meters water resistant. You can see a limited edition number with individual numbering and proprietary screws, so some local idiot can't just open it up and try his hand. Taking a quick look at the reverse side, you could see that the setting mechanism is visible through the caseback, and that on the reverse, all of the sapphires are actually clear sapphires rather than synthetic rubies. Chemically, just about the same thing, just it fits the two-tone black and white aesthetic of the back even better. You can see little locating pins for the springs have been polished on their head, and that the springs themselves have been satinated along with the wheels. It's a really good-looking watch in every regard, emblematic of everything that makes and has made manufacturer Christophe Claret the go-to for people who want to make really expensive and complicated watches but don't have the chops to develop it themselves. Claret always has. Another note about this watch is you can see externally that it's grade 5 titanium, which is both lighter than steel and more scratch resistant than steel. Plus, you can see that because there's this enormous sapphire cap on the top, it acts as a heat shield for the metal, as almost any contact is going to touch the sapphire first, protecting the metal from scratches. So this is a very durable watch, and you can see, despite the fact that it is now several years old, this example was sold back in 2017, there's nary a scratch on it, only the slightest of marks. It's a very durable watch because of this enormous protruding sapphire. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.